Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for EEA's Education Series webinar. Today, we will discuss the top 5 reasons why blockchain projects fail. Today's call is being recorded and will be available to all attendees and the public on the EEA YouTube channel soon after today's presentation. The Enterprise Ethereum Alliance enables organizations to adopt and use Ethereum technology in their daily business operations. The EEA empowers the Ethereum ecosystem to develop new business opportunities, drive industry adoption, and learn and collaborate with one another. We welcome any and everyone to join and become a part of our global community. At this time, we are pleased to introduce our speaker, Lina Masalova. Welcome, Lina.
Hi, thank you. Thank you a lot for having me today. Let me introduce myself really quickly. So I have a business management and business administration background. I previously worked and started my journey in crypto with the automatization of the blockchain solution as a first project manager, then product manager, and then grew to the general manager on a project of our company called My Wish. Then transitioned into the position of the head of business development and marketing of custom blockchain development project called Track and Block, with a major focus on the company growth and new market opportunities discovery. So this is really quickly about myself. And today we'll be covering one of the most crucial, in my humble opinion, matters of the reasons behind the blockchain projects and filers fail. So the relevance of the topic for the discussion comes from a very simple statement that every fail is an opportunity for us to learn and a chance to learn for the others, big and small players, may save us like tons and tons of time, resources, and money as well. So today we're going to go through an overview of general causes of the failed projects based on our company experience, Rock and Block, and the cases shared by the marketplace in both enterprise and the crypto verticals. So I believe it is important to point out that at the time where the blockchain technology has gained buzz and hype as being efficient and cutting-edge technology, at the moment, like the informational flow around it is filled by the press releases that are full of gains and positive outcomes, the profits. There's a lack of data on the failed projects from which we can actually learn and bring the benefits from the analysis of the reasons and the causes of the failed ones. So let me introduce, wait a second. Let me introduce our company first. So quick words around Rock and Block. What we do, we deliver custom blockchain solutions on a turnkey basis, and we do it since 2017. The core team was running the development firm since 2006, and then transitioned to the blockchain development only with the 2 major directions, namely enterprise solutions and the blockchain native projects development. So for quite a long period of market presence, we delivered over 300 turnkey projects. We created over 38,000 smart contracts. We've built our own products such as Mavish, Rubik, and Algebra. And basically what we do, we provide blockchain development solutions of any complexity, from simple smart contract creation to a more complex dApps and ecosystem development and building blockchains from scratches. So coming closer to the context of today's presentation, we're going to go through the following aspects: is the project development process stages, and the causes for and constraints for the success within the enterprise vertical, causes and causes of failures within the crypto verticals, and a bit of more. So get into the side of the project development roadmap. It is worth saying we are now speaking about the really general roadmap, and it may vary and add or exclude several stages depending on the volume and the specifications of the projects and the solutions to be developed. So to go through this, We always start the project development with the discovery phase, where we identify and formulate the strategic goals, motivations, visions, identifies the challenges, pains for the stakeholders. It is also worth saying that this is a really crucial part for us to prevent the projects to fail. Basically, due to the identification of the following causes, such as market conditions, legacy system alignments with the IT practices, capacities, and the limitations. As to the following stage, there is solution design and requirements formulation. So solution approach analysis and scope and composition based on the industry and business specific operational models and identification of the pains of challenges may save us lots of resources and decrease the time spent on the project delivery. So in this stage, we are trying to prevent the following causes is the following moments that can lead to fail, especially those ones that are based in the architecture, design, and the creation, and design of the systems that are able to scale later on. Then goes the integration or development planning and the roadmap composition to make sure that we know how much it would take us to deliver the solution, and how much resources we have to allocate on the solution delivery, how much budget we have to take into account too. The development process is quite basic, and it has to go in accordance with the defined requirements, but sometimes especially if there's not enough effort put on the discovery phase when the needs and sort of business logic recognition is taking place. Sometimes there's a need to make the changes in the requirements and the architecture, which leads to the longer terms of the project development, constant needs to add more resources, and this leads to the basically draining the budget allocated for the project. So on the previous 3 stages, we make sure that everything is aligned into the guidelines for and requirements of the development to eliminate this particular cause for failing. Then goes quality assessment and audits, which are, sort of really traditional and happens in each and every stage of the project development. Then goes deployment and testing on the real life cases. Here we're saying that it's crucial for us to follow the incremental approach instead of implementing the application to the full business processes, but rather to separate a particular one and include limited amount of the stakeholders involved and the participants of the systems for testing. And then goes the assessment of the requirements to be aligned with the final outcome. And only after that, it can be scaled and added to the more and more participants and the stakeholders of the system. Then goes maintenance and support, in addition to scaling, if the pilot is successful or not successful, whether we receive the expected results, and so on and so forth. Moving further to the to the enterprise vertical. So we've outlined the following causes and challenges that are, that we can basically meet in most of the projects that we are cooperating with. Those are the focus on the technology integration rather than business objectives. Then there's a lack of research on the stakeholders' readiness to apply the technology. And last but not the least, the lack of regulation and clarity. So when we are talking about give me a second to adjust the slides. Oh, no. Sorry. Yeah. So when we are talking about the focus on the technology integration over the business objectives, it is worth saying that when we are talking to the corporates, we often are facing the poor understanding from the corporate representatives of the technology and its possible applications, use cases, and limitations. And it is really important to consider and educate the corporate representatives about the particular areas of the blockchain, and to define whether the blockchain is a fit, like is a correct solution to solve their business challenges. So first challenge for us to communicate with the enterprises is understanding of the blockchain scalability. For example, whether the existing protocol cannot process the required volume of transactions and the resistance and so on and so forth. Then the understanding that the blockchain is a complex technology, and understanding that the cost of the developing and deploying blockchain technology are, usually high. The next implication of the focus on the technology rather than business goals is the absence of having a clear strategic vision beyond the blockchain adoption. So transcribing an existing system to the blockchain is not a strategic vision itself, and only with the profound analysis of business industry and business specific processes can identify relative strengths and weaknesses. And only from that analysis, we can outline whether the blockchain is a great fit, or whether the blockchain component is only required for the to solve the problems of the business entity. The ignorance of the business goes in favor for technical uniqueness. I have faced personally this matter when I was communicating and discussing pilots with a UAE-based construction company. So the corporates majorly, well, from my experience at least, the corporates majorly are racing to become the most technically advanced solution by offering emerging and disruptive technology rather than efficient and working solutions that have proved to the efficiency of business operation optimization. Then goes the implementation of the technology in alliance of the industry and business specific flow. Solution has to meet not only the technical requirements, but more importantly, to meet the business requirements that have to align with the industry specific practices, including the regulations, financial flow, assurance, acceptance, risk management, and many, many, many more. Another point to cover is the defined KPIs really matter, and they matter on a final stage of the pilot or project assessment, whether it is successful or failed. So blockchain applications operate on a decentralized network with stakeholders either with or outside of the organization, and the success parameters need to be properly defined for the blockchain system. And they have to be also aligned with the business specific needs and the stakeholder specific needs. So for example, for trade finance use case, the parameters like time reduced to completed transactions, number of documents reduced, number of disputes or conflicts reduced are really important. Getting further, so there are particular workflows of how to overcome the constraints is having the industry specification and business goals and pains outlined in the first place, and putting the business strategy and goals on the top of the application purposes, creation of purpose of the application creation. Then setting clear requirements and responsibilities and definition of achievable and measurable KPIs. Another point to outline is while on a stage of the project discovery and scope definition, it is essential to have the experts on all of the three components of the industry experts who know how the processes are going within the industry, especially when it includes like international communication or international transactions and so on and so forth. Then the business analysis that will go through your current legacy traditional business processes and outline the potential optimization and cost or risk reduction, and the technological analysis that would help altogether to define the most optimal way out and solution for your current business needs and pains management. Then talking about the other constraints or that the enterprise projects are facing is the lack of the research on the stakeholders and readiness to apply the lack of the research on the stakeholders' readiness to apply the technology. So one of them is the lack of research on the final users and the stakeholders involved in the process, the processes that will be transferred to the blockchain. It also includes the extra burdens on users. For example, if the stakeholders, entities, or the final users have to run the node to participate in the blockchain-based application. It also takes the transition complexity, which is far beyond from the complex UX UI design. The organization usually settles to the existing structures and train the employees like for years to have the particular flow and to meet the criteria for the business operations. So considering that the implementation of an enterprise blockchain requires completely new structures and the transition from the legacy structures becomes quite difficult. There's also legacy system challenges. So the enterprise blockchain application do not work single-handedly, rather than legacy systems, applications, and data sets need to integrate seamlessly. So the incremental approach would be the most optimal way for the enterprise to test the piloting and have the each and every stage of the integration to go smoothly. As to the real life case from our experience. So let me give you a bit of context. So we worked on the pilot for the food delivery company that was aiming to enable and stimulate user experience and retention through transparent and trusted processes of delivery, arrival, and refund management. So the pilot implied an application that was running on the smart contracts with the time-based conditions and consumer identity management through digital signatures. So the consumer, so it worked, the flow went in the following way. The consumer made a deposit on a smart contract, and the deposit event triggered the timer of the maximum delivery time countdown. Once the delivery time was completed, the consumer signs the proof of the delivery with this digital identity signature. And in case of on-time arrival, the deposit is forwarded to the corporate account. And in case of the delay, the deposit goes directly back to the client. So the problem and constraints faced with the pilot that at the very end was considered to be like as failed. It was the low blockchain adoption among users within the region, lack of clarification of the financial regulations because the company itself couldn't find a way to make the cash flow, the crypto cash flow, legal, have a transparent taxation system, and lack of clarity among the financial and accounting flow of crypto asset management. What's also saying that the financial department of the company have strictly So we faced strict sort of burdens when communicating to the financial department, who were really confused with the new system and the new cash flows and how to manage them. Getting to the next cause of the pilots and projects within the enterprise vertical to fail is lack of the regulatory clarity. So, so the legacy, it implies many different aspects. There's no such thing as a proper regulatory framework and structured requirements. And what's more important, especially for the global companies and the international that have the international operations, is the differentiation of the regulators' policies globally. There are also other common failure factors for the blockchain pilots and projects, including development complexity and cost, lack of expertise among the corporate team, unrealistic assumptions on decentralization, blockchain scalability, assuming that the smart contracts technology is a solved problem. When shifting to the crypto vertical, there are three basic and really general reasons for projects to fail. One of them is the lack of product market fit. The other is poor marketing strategy and go-to-market strategy. And the third is the lack of expertise. So the lack of product market fit implies very broad number of causes, starting from launching a solution to a non-existent problem, lack of traction, development of full functional product rather than MVP that would be then flexible to scale and adjust to real life. Also, the market state and low demand on the product services at the launch time, poor business model. And it is also worth adding that there are more and more projects popping up in a space, but have absolutely no technical advantage around in comparison with already existing projects. Blockchain and crypto space being an open source and developer friendly space implies the code to be open, and we are coming to the situation when there are more and more exact same projects appearing in the space without neither technology advantages, neither input to the development community, neither any feature rich and unique use cases appearing. Going further, lack of poor marketing strategy. Sadly, but the really great technical solutions is not, having the great technical solution isn't a success factor if no one knows about it. Failing creating community around the project and bringing them the value of the project, communicating the vision, the mission, and so on and so forth. Many projects fail with the poor tokenomics, whether there's a lack of token use case and it's sensitive for holders, or the tokenomics are structured in the way where the incentives are not really well divided across the particular participants, and that brings the token and the following project to fail as well. And lack of industry-specific marketing expertise. Being the developers that are helping the upcoming projects and onboarding the new projects to come up on the market, we're facing sometimes with the off-crypto world people that have the entrepreneurial background, that have raised several startups outside of the crypto world. And when they come in and trying to apply exact same practices on a completely different environment, where the channels are different, the ways to communicate your products to the users are different. So the lack of industry-specific marketing expertise may also be a failing factor. The third cause would be the lack of expertise, which may cause also and apply the security risks, usability drawbacks, negligence of the end user background and level of the tech adoption, fail to timely follow the roadmap and fail the community's expectations, and product scaling constraints when the products that are designed to be built really fast and really quick are not always built in the best way to have the opportunity to scale later. So when trying to outline the common failing factors for the crypto projects and for the enterprise project, considering that those two verticals are two completely different worlds that are operating with completely different goals of the existence, we managed to outline three that may be combined and outlined as a common failing factors is fail to scale the projects, fail to design the seamless experience for the blockchain applications for the end users or other stakeholders. I believe like this point is like one of the most crucial, since the blockchain is quite a complex technology and not each and every one understands how to interact and how to use and apply it. And coming from the point that the end users may come from completely different backgrounds and use completely different digital solutions. So the interface for the users has to be designed in a following way that it would bring seamless and effortless experience of blockchain application. And the final point would be the lack of expertise, because no matter how great your project idea is, no matter how well the technology can solve the problems and help you reach the business goals, if the team that do the research and analysis and development and the further scaling and maintenance of the projects doesn't have enough skills to bring a secure, efficient solution to the problems, no matter how good your idea is, it would eventually fail. So closing thoughts for today's session is the importance of the following four factors. First one is to have the experts involved in the project analysis and design, especially on the scoping phase. Knowing industry-specific challenges and the market state is also a good point for to keep in mind while designing the pilot or project based on the blockchain. Knowing the business goals and setting achievable and clear KPIs. And then the regulation is part of it, since even if you have a well-built technical solution that cannot be applied and used by the end user due to the regulations, there's just simply no point for it to reach the users and get the audience. As to the areas for further research, since I've said in the beginning that there's lack of information on the failed projects and the analysis shared to the global audience and or in open source sources, I believe that the creation of the set or knowledge base of the product pilots that fails and the analysis of them is a really good input that will help the technology and the technology participants, the developers as well, and the business entities to learn more about the project and to know the major success and fail factors. So the further research areas would be industry and sector specific research on the project that failed with big enough sample for statistic drawing. So this is it for me for today. I would like to thank you for joining me today and getting through the presentation with me. I would be happy to keep the presentation discussion on failing factors and courses going, feel free to reach me out. I'm leaving my contact information, and I will be happy to get connected through the EAE. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Lina, for joining us today, and thanks for a great presentation. As you've stated, up on the screen, you'll see Lina's contact information if anyone wants to connect with her after this presentation. For additional information about joining the EEA, please reach out to membership at eea-eth-alliance.org or visit our website, and that's been placed in the chat for you. You can also follow the EEA on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Thank you, everyone, and this concludes today's EEA Education Series webinar.
Thank you.